What is going on, everybody, and welcome into the Warzone Sports Network live edition. I'm your host, Tony Tucker, and I'm extremely jacked to have you here. Got a great show. We're going to be going through the Mel Kiper and Todd McShay. They had a 3-round draft, and there was a lot of stuff, not so much in the first and second rounds, but definitely in the second and third rounds that I think are interesting and impact current players and sort of where their draft position is actually headed at this moment. And in case you missed the opening, I was having a little fun with the Nick Sirianni rock, paper, scissors. Like, I like to compete. I just went right up to him and I was like, all right, you want to talk some trash over rock, paper, scissors? Which I'm kind of competitive. I would too. Like if somebody was trash at rock, paper, scissors, I would let them know that their rock looked deformed. You know, it's not that California gold rock that you pay a bunch of money for, you know, to landscape. I don't know. Nick Sirianni is becoming one of my favorite NFL coach hires. He's like the opposite of, the guy they got in Detroit. His name is escaping me at the moment. But I want to remind anybody popping in here to go ahead and back and watch Sports Force, right? I'm hoping to have Joe Scurto join me in a moment or two to go over this draft. He hosts that show with Brian Bolster. Lots of hot topics. That comes out every Wednesday. And Friday, we got a lot of great things happening. We got a new Warzone coming out. We got another great live show going to happen. So it's going to be fun. While I wait for Mr. Scurto. Oh, he's just joined me. Let me go ahead and bring in Joe Scurto and we can get into the review of this draft. He's just getting set up here. He's getting all pretty and primped up for the camera. Joe, how you doing, brother?
Doing well, Tony. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. You probably missed it, but I was having some fun with the Nick Sirianni rock, paper, scissors. I don't know if you had a chance to see, but that's how he likes to find out guys' competitive measures.
Oh man, I don't know. I think his introductory press conference says it all how he operates things. So I'm not surprised at this point that he's playing a first grader's game to decide his players.
So I actually I felt bad. Howie Roseman was sitting there in the interview with him, and when he started telling that story, Howie Roseman was like, come on, bro. We're adults. Like, you're the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, and you're talking about rock, paper, scissors right now.
Oh, man.
Well, I only got you for about 25 minutes, so I don't want to waste any time with any of my ridiculousness. Let's hop into this. Let me get my little screen share going so that everybody can be involved. Take a look at what is going on right here. Make sure it close the Pornhub. There we are. Okay. So this came out, I think this was yesterday. And obviously you can see we have the standard guys going at the top. So I don't really want to spend any time on that. Your Jets got, get Zach Wilson. That's pretty standard. This pick here, the Justin Fields one, it was like, as soon as this came out, it was like all these Mac Jones 100% confirmed to the 49ers. Did you hear any of that stuff?
Right. Honestly, I think it is going to be a sure thing. I think Mac Jones is going third. I feel like, I don't know, I have this gut feeling that Fields is going to be the 5th quarterback off the board. Not that that's what I think. I just think, I don't believe that. Like, I don't think he should. I just feel like that's the way things are going to go. I have a weird feeling that next Thursday is going to be a crazy, crazy draft. And I see Mac Jones going third to the 49ers. I really do.
Oh, I know. I actually kind of feel bad. Like, that's a lot of pressure to be in that situation. Like, he's going to be saving Kyle Shanahan's job. The genius that everybody wants to crown, who we forget has had 2 losing seasons since he's been with the 49ers. But apparently
he's blown 2 Super Bowls too. I mean, we forget about that too. He was the OC when they lost, when they were up 28-3 against the Patriots. He was up 14 against the Chiefs as the head coach. We seem to just wash that away, right? Wipe that under the rug that he's blown 2 Super Bowls under his supervision with the offensive side. So yeah, I mean, he's putting a lot of trust in Mac Jones, but I feel like Mac Jones is that guy that you know what you're going to get. With Justin Fields, he obviously has way more potential, a higher ceiling, but it also could be bad as well. We've seen it time after time with those mobile quarterbacks. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. I think they would pick Mac Jones because he's the safe option, not more so that he's the best option, because I don't think he's the best option. He may be the safer option, but
sure. No, I agree with going safe there. This pick at number 4 with Kyle Pitts to the Falcons, to me, actually kind of makes sense when I think about it from the, like, we're going to hang on to Matt Ryan. Like, everybody wants to just throw him away as if he's trash, but it's like you bring in Kyle Pitts and then you load up on the offensive line and defense. Like, I kind of like this pick at 4.
I like it too. And people forget that if they got rid of Matt Ryan, that's a $40 million cap hit. That's not cheap. So this guy still has a few more good years in him. I feel like the Falcons will trade back, to be honest, but if they're going to stay at that pick, you got to go best available. And I think Kyle Pitts would be, just imagine Kyle Pitts, Calvin Ridley, Julio Jones. That's pretty dang good.
Yeah, and I don't think you have to take it, like, you can't be like, oh, well, Matt Ryan will be gone in a couple months. Let's take a quarterback just to have a project in building. Like, there'll be free agency. Who knows? Aaron Rodgers might be available then, and you might be able to sweet talk him. That's not likely, but there's just a flood of streamers leaving. They're all like, this idiot just sent Rodgers to the Packers. He's got a Favre jersey in the background. Boo. Penei Sewell at 5. I'm going to scroll through some of these. You let me know if any of them, and if there's anything interesting, or just feel free to talk over it.
All right.
Sewell at 5. Jamar Chase to the Dolphins.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think the Bengals should go Sewell, but I feel like they'll go Chase. But if not, yeah, Dolphins got to take a weapon there. So I like that. But this is interesting. A trade.
This is where I wanted to stop and spend a little bit of time, because I really do believe the Patriots, right, are going to do something like this on draft day. Like Bill Belichick, they spent all the money there. Why not make one more big push? If you spent $160 million, let's move a couple of no-name draft picks and move up into the top 7 and get the guy of the future.
Yeah, it's tough because I don't think Bill Belichick has ever traded up in the NFL draft. He's usually a guy that has a late round pick, of course, and he trades back. He usually trades out of the first round. That's usually how it goes. But you said it's kind of been that weird type of year that he's overspending. He knows what he's got. He just went 7-9. He just witnessed Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl. So I believe that the Patriots should. This would be a key spot to trade up to, because the Lions, they're probably going to be committing to Jared Goff, but I know they need a receiver too. But yeah, Mac Jones to the Patriots, that would be interesting for sure.
Yes, I think whatever they get, Trey Lance or Mac Jones, doesn't matter to me. I like this pick here. Obviously, if you get Sam Darnold, you either get him weapons or you get him protection, because he never didn't necessarily have that with the Jets. Like, let's make him feel secure,
Yeah, absolutely. I think they got to go. If Slater's there, they got to take him. I don't care what wide receiver is there. You got to take the best offensive line available, because he had a terrible offensive line. It's not like the Panthers are this secured offensive line. They got some solid assets over there, but Slater, I really think he's easily the second best, and you could be kind of competing him and Sewell as the best tackle. So I really like that pick.
Yeah, and I think if you get a number 1 pick like Darnold, he still has ability there. Treat him like a baby. Swaddle him. Make him feel comfortable. And nothing better than getting a big stud offensive lineman. The Broncos in this position, they have them taking Trey Lance. I also think the Broncos might be aggressive too.
I think so too. I think the Broncos have to take a quarterback. And if it's kind of quarterback madness in the early parts of the draft, they'll be one of those teams that aggressively will move up, and they should move up. But Trey Lance would be a home run for them. I mean, I'm not sure how Lance would fare in a spot like Denver, but I like the positional pick there. They got to go quarterback. Drew Lock isn't the guy. And then they have Jeff Driscoll. I mean, they have a terrible quarterback depth chart. So I like this pick as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of them moving on from Drew Lock. Not that Drew Lock is. I talked about this the other day. Like, you can't be a bust if you go that late in the draft. For me, they took a shot, and I mean, maybe that we'll see maturity, but I have my doubts. I like this pick for the Cowboys, but it seems too reasonable. Like I saw this and I go, oh, this is a good pick. Jerry won't do it.
It seems like I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry was like, screw it, we're going to take Devontae Smith too. Why not? We have Lamb, we have Cooper, we have Gallup. Exactly. Like this is the smart pick. You got to really help your defense because they were bottom 5 last year, but Surtain's terrific. But again, I agree. I don't know. He's a wild card every year.
Yeah, I'm going to squeeze 2 picks in on this shot because we got the Giants taking one Bama receiver and then the Eagles taking the other. In my head, I had this flip-flopped. Like I thought Jalen Waddle would go first, but Devonta Smith. Like it doesn't seem like as many people are going to be afraid of the 166 body frame that was reported on today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could go either way with that. You could be cautious, but I mean, he won the Heisman for a reason. He's an athletic freak. I think in terms for the Giants, I would lean towards Waddle, more of the fit, because they go get a guy like Kenny Galladay could stretch the field. And I think Smith ultimately can kind of do the same thing. You probably should have someone that does something different. But if I'm the Giants and there's no offensive lineman, I'm honestly trading back because you need linemen. You don't necessarily need Smith. I know Smith solidifies the weapons and there's no excuse for Daniel Jones anymore, but I don't know. But definitely the Eagles, they got to pick a receiver. I mean, they got to get it right this time. They drafted J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf, and they drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. So they got to get it right this year.
Oh, that's heartbreaking if you're
terrible.
An Eagles fan.
Oh, man.
That's where they get the cry Eagles cry from. Yes, and I personally am jealous of Devonta Smith. I haven't weighed 166 since like 5th grade. Like I'm so jealous of people who can be thin. I like this for the Chargers. You have Herbert. He's a stud. Keep him upright. The weapons and everybody, they lose Hunter Henry. We don't know Mike Williams is in and out and stuff like that. I really like Darashaw to the Chargers here.
I like Darashaw too. I think he's definitely the 3rd best tackle after Sewell and Slater. So you got to protect your franchise guy. You got to do everything your ability so he doesn't have that sophomore slump. So if you added him along with Corey Linsley, I really like that for the Chargers.
Yeah, and we get another offensive lineman to the Vikings here, which is like, it's good. I mean, if you have Delvin Cook as your star, like let's create some lanes. Let's keep Kirk Cousins, give him some time so he can hit Jefferson or Thielen or, Irv Smith Jr., who I think has a chance to really break out this year.
Yeah, absolutely. They got some weapons over there. It's kind of surprising. I thought Vera Tucker would go a little later. I do like him a lot. I think his upside is there. And it does make sense because you got so many offensive weapons and their line is just kind of mediocre. I don't hate the pick. I like the player a lot, but I don't know. The Vikings are going to be a weird team. I don't know what route they're going to go in because their defense was awful last year as well. So I feel like I wouldn't have minded an edge rusher there as well, but I can't complain.
Yeah, I don't know. The Vikings, to me, there's too many holes, and I think it all starts with I think it starts with my you paid Kirk Cousins $84 million, and I just can't get over that. It was all guaranteed. This one to me, like all of a sudden, I started being like, I look at the first 3 rounds of this draft, Spoiler alert, I cheated. I looked at all this stuff. I really kind of like what the Lions are doing in this mock draft and what they're doing in real life, right? Like, I don't love the coach so much, but you got to get talent. You can get Micah Parsons at 15, and then they're adding a couple picks for later in the draft, and because they need to stockpile talent like crazy.
Oh, yeah, they do. And I think even if the Patriots stay there at 15 and there's no quarterbacks, that's probably the guy they're going to get as well. His upside is crazy. I know he has off the field issues, but yeah, I mean, I definitely see the Lions trying to target a receiver, but I don't know what the 2nd or 3rd rounders are yet, but I'm sure that's probably a position of need after that. But yeah, I mean, Parsons could be easily the best defender in this draft if he can just kind of keep his act up, stay out of trouble, because we all saw he ran like a 4.39. The dude's an absolute freak.
Yes, and I mean, I saw him on a couple of those, like, I forget what draft show it was. One of those ones that I'm like, dude, this guy's a monster. Like,
He
and
really
he's
is.
he's so competitive, and they were showing highlights of him playing running back. I was like, dude, this guy's he's gonna kill people. I'm gonna go through the first round a little bit faster here. We got J.C. Horn to the Cardinals, which is nice.
Like it.
Joe's Raiders, Trayvon Moore Rig, the safety here. Owusu to the Dolphins, which is like another thing. It's like, okay, you get him a weapon with the first pick. Now you get somebody to protect Tua there. Jamin Davis, defensive head coach like Rivera's like, give me a stud that I can just, sick on the other team.
Love that pick.
The Bears getting Caleb Farley. This one scares me a little bit because of the back stuff. It's like, just go with somebody a little safer. Like you guys are the Chicago Bears. Like, please just pick
I mean, with Farley, if I was the Cardinals, I would take the risk with Farley because they got so much going for them. But with the Bears, man, I think you got to focus on the offensive side. I mean, man, I don't know what's going to happen over there.
This one surprised me a little bit, just because of a couple of the guys that go after him. But Jalen Phillips, defensive end, going to the Colts, just because their defense is so strong, and maybe I'm not aware of somebody they lost in the offseason, but
yeah, I mean, I know they could use an edge rusher. I mean, Phillips is a stud. I think whoever gets him is going to get someone that could be an easy steal. I know he's another guy that has off the field issues, and he also has medical issues. So, yeah, as they said, medically retired from football. So that's a little risky. If I was the Colts, I don't know. If I'm with the Colts here, I'm getting another weapon for Wentz. Not having an excuse, right? That's basically with the Giants too. If you get a weapon, there's no more excuses for Daniel Jones. There's got to be no more excuses for Wentz either.
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like guys like Elijah Moore and, we're going to see Rondell Moore and a couple other wide receivers that are, they're on that you could have gotten or traded back and got. I like this pick for the Titans because it doesn't steal too much from AJ Brown in my fantasy teams, like it'll be just enough to keep him there. And then your Jets right here. How do you like this? Getting Greg Newsome at 23.
I like it. I mean, I'm a guy who wants to go offensive line, but corner is a huge need as well. Corner, edge rusher, offensive line. And I think the only reason why I would just be okay with this pick because he's definitely the best corner available. He's that guy who plays his own scheme, and that's what Robert Saleh wants to do. And he's one of those guys who just is really lanky. He's at 6'1", but I love those lanky corners that could play man coverage, and that's kind of what Robert Saleh is going to ask for. And with the depth of the offensive line, you could probably go get someone in the second or third. So I like that Newsome pick a lot.
Yeah, we got Najee Harris here, first running back off the board. At the end of the show, after Joe departs, I'm going to talk about the running back position in the NFL. And I don't think it's a devalue. I think it's more looking at an evolution of this position. Like that there. What is Kadarius Toney? This guy just keeps climbing up. Like a few weeks ago, everybody was like second round, or late second round, and all of a sudden he's like in the first round of everything that I'm seeing. And people will put up receivers next to him with the little like mouth, that old school math thing that you learned, where it's like the alligator mouth is facing.
Yeah, like
Toney.
the Pac-Man. Yeah, yeah, I like Kadarius Toney a lot. I think this would be a great pick for Jacksonville to get Trevor Lawrence, another weapon. I think he's rising up because of his athleticism. And that's what everyone's looking at a receiver now. It doesn't matter how tall you are. I think he's about 6 feet, 6'1" at the most. But I like Toney a lot. So I definitely like that pick.
Yeah, as you can see here on the next one, I have the what is it? Kwity Paye, right?
Yep.
To Cleveland. This to me is the confusing one. It's like, wait, you just gave Clowney money, and granted it was only a year, but like another edge rusher, like especially when they could use some linebacking help, or like get another player in the secondary. So I was a little confused.
I agree. I love the player in Kwity Paye, but the need isn't there. I mean, their linebacking core was awful, and especially secondary too. I mean, I think there's definitely guys that you can find to really help you out in those positions. The need doesn't make sense. The player is great unless they have other plans for him, maybe to make him a linebacker. I have no idea, but they don't need another edge rusher. They got Myles Garrett. They're okay there.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to say you don't need another edge rusher because you always do, and especially
right.
Like
that's true.
Often injured. But I agree with you. I am on board with you. Like, this is not the pick that I would have made. The Terrace Marshall Jr. here, I saw this and I was like, thank you. Can we just see, like, we've all decided Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball. I disagree. And part of the reason he can't throw is because you're throwing to Willie Snead and you're throwing to Des Bryant, who is in football years like 51 years old. Like, he may really only, his driver's license might say 32, and he might still be able to throw up the X. But they need young, viable weapons. So I really like this for him.
I agree. I'm a Lamar Jackson truther. You look what he's had: Willie Snead, Des Bryant, and Hollywood Brown as well. But Hollywood Brown is a deep threat, and we all say that he can't throw the ball deep. So how is he going to be your number one wide receiver? You need a possessional wide receiver. I think that's why they went aggressive with T.Y. Hilton and Juju. Unfortunately, they didn't land him, but they got to go receiver all the way. I don't care who it is. I really like Marshall. Kid had a breakout year without obviously Chase and Jefferson, who he played in his early years. So this is a knock out of the park pick. They got to pick the best wide receiver available. I think Marshall's definitely the best wide receiver available in this mock here.
Agreed. Rashad Bateman going to the Saints. I like that. This was one where I was like Tevin Jenkins. I was like, okay, at least it's on the offensive side of the ball and it's not his heir apparent. Like, that's, I guess we could,
right.
Because Rodgers is going to wrinkle the mustache at this one.
I mean, at least it's not a quarterback and a running back like they did last year. I mean, you go and draft a quarterback when you have Rodgers and then a running back when you have Aaron Jones and you end up extending him $40+ million. Last year's draft was a crapshoot, but yeah, Tevin Jenkins. I mean, you go and lose Corey Linsley, your best lineman. You might as well get Rodgers that protection back, and it's a solid pick. I know people probably want to see a wide receiver, but I don't hate that pick.
Yeah. Somebody put up who should the Packers draft, and I was like, is there a receiver named Gordon Like out there just so we could really drive home the Jordan Love insanity? The linebacker Zaven Collins to the Bills. I like that because they need help on defense.
Yep, like that.
Landon Dickens. Chiefs need to build that offensive line, so like another solid pick here, and then offensive tackle. When you have the oldest quarterback in football, you can never have too many offensive linemen in my book.
I agree. And then you go pair him up with Tristan Wirfs, and it's a Michigan guy too. So I think Brady would respect that pick as well. So you don't really need much more. Their defense is set. Their weapons are set. Might as well focus on the offensive line. You can never get better on the offensive line. That's always a position that you want to keep getting better and better. So I like that.
I agree. And Joe, before we jump into the second round, I just want to ask anybody out there streaming, watching, listening to please feel free to go ahead, like, and subscribe. Here's a little reminder. Awesome. Thank you. So we start off the second round of this draft with the Clemson connection in Jacksonville, right? Travis Etienne going. Like, this is what I really enjoyed about when I started looking into the second round. This is what the first obviously pick, but I was also like, this is interesting. What do you think about this one?
It is interesting, and I almost like it at this point because it is in the second round. I'm a firm believer you don't take running backs in the first round. I don't care who you are. It's just out of date now. We've seen so many teams fail with it. But in the 33rd pick, and if you're looking at it now, you got Lawrence, Kadarius Toney, and Travis Etienne. Man, those are guys that you can work with for the future and beyond. So I love it, honestly, even though I don't like taking running backs early, but you get that in the second round for a guy who's supposed to go in the first round, arguably as good or better than Najee Harris, depending on your opinion. So that's a nice pick.
I agree, and to me, better. But this is for Mike on the mic right here, Azeez Ojulari. I butchered this guy's name in the first two mock drafts that we did, so I like practice. I hope that I did the Ojalaris proud. I probably still messed it up. Anyways, I like this pick for you on the for the Jets. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you nailed it. Ojulari. I definitely butchered this name before. I've had him in some of my mock drafts that I've made, but I do like it. Again, I want to go offensive line, but again, you can never have more. You can never have enough edge rushers, like you said. And this is a guy who can be a legitimate edge rusher. He's big. He can get sacks. I believe he had over 8 sacks last year, his career high. So you pair him up with Carl Lawson, and we know that Robert Saleh is a defensive guy. So even if you think it doesn't help Zach Wilson, it does. If you have a great defense, it's going to help Zach Wilson just as much. So I like it. I would go an offensive lineman, but I can't hate that pick.
Yes, and we're gonna get there in a minute. But this pick to me right here, this crushed my fantasy dreams because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have Mike Davis on so many fantasy teams, and like this is the one guy that's like I could see him eating into a bunch of Mike Davis's time. Like I didn't know about this kid until a few weeks ago, and people keep posting clips. I'm a big fan of Javonte Williams for the Falcons.
Whew, yeah. Last episode in Sports Force, he was my sleeper draft pick. I love Javonte Williams. I feel like 35 is a little too high, though, for me, especially with the Falcons, who have a lot of defensive needs. Their defense is terrible, and they could even fill that offensive line if they want to keep Matty Ice around for at least a few more years. Personally, I don't like the pick for Atlanta. I love the player, Javonte Williams, but I don't see the need for it. Why do you go pay Mike Davis? You have so many needs. But yeah, I mean, Williams is by far the third best running back. Nothing against him. It's more so the Falcons. They got to go a different position there, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. I'm going to scroll ahead. Looks like Miami's going offensive line. We got a linebacker, Nick Bolton, going to the Eagles. I like this Tutu Atwell, right? Like you get Burrow, another weapon.
I like it.
But I'm going to freeze here for a second because I'm going back to the Sam Darnold thing. Get this guy protection and weapons. And they go out and get him a big tight end. And it looks like, he's kind of the newer version, right? We haven't talked about any tight end besides Kyle Pitts. I was like, is there another tight end in this draft other than Kyle Pitts? Like, I didn't know their name. So when I saw this guy, I was like, I went and watched him. I'm like, okay, he could play. Like, this would be a good pick.
Hunter Long's a great player. And I only know that because I'm from around that area and see a lot of BC games. And Hunter Long was really that guy that quarterback focused in. He was a guy who extended drives. He was a possessional guy. He's a big dude. He's really raw, but I love that pick. I really do because you don't got much over there in terms of a tight end. So yeah, I mean, you go get an offensive lineman and then go get a nice tight end to pair up with your receivers with Robbie Anderson, Moore, as well as CMC. Really like this mock for the Panthers for sure.
Yeah. Stop here real quick. The Asante Samuel Jr. to the Broncos feels like a Denver kind of player, playing defense cold. Like, I also just love the fact that guys whose dads, uncles, whatever, played in the NFL, they always seem to do well. Like there's just a little added bonus coming with the extra knowledge that's in there. So I like this pick for the Broncos.
I agree. I think Asante Samuel Jr. will be a solid player. I don't think he's going to be good as his dad, but for a second round, I mean, I've seen mock drafts that has this dude in the first round. So 40th pick, yeah, why not? Even though Denver's definitely got to figure it out in the offense too. But I guess if you got Trey Lance at that point, your receivers are okay. I don't mind going into in the defensive side and kind of pair up and make your cornerbacks stronger. So I like the pick.
Yeah, they already have money sunk into Gordon in the backfield and whatever. Like, they have enough money on the offensive side of the ball if they get that quarterback in the first round.
For sure.
Lions picking up another talented weapon, wide receiver.
Good pick.
Giants going linebacker here. Ronnie Perkins looking like a beast. Cornerback Tyson Campbell. I'm coming down here because this guy, Barmore, he was in like a bunch of people's mock drafts in the first round, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, again, another pick to me that would make too much sense for the Cowboys. Like there's going to be somebody they'll take.
Yeah, if it makes too much sense, though, right? It might not happen with Jerry Jones. But Barmore, yeah, I feel like he's a easily 25 to 30th pick in terms of talent. The 44, man, that's a big drop in my opinion.
Here's what I'm saying, Joe, is that if they went Surtain in the first round, you think then he's going Barmore in the second? Like back-to-back defensive play? Like where's the – I guess because Surtain has the family name value, but – it doesn't feel like splashy enough for Dallas or something.
Right. Back-to-back Bama, though. I mean, I think they should literally draft defensive players in at least the first 3 or 4 rounds. Personally, I think it's great if they got Surtain and Barmore, but I agree. I don't think it's a Dallas move. They're going to make an excuse to just pick up an offensive weapon. I know they're going to do that. It happens every year, and you wonder why they have the 27th ranked defense every single year, but Barmore's an absolute steal.
Well, I think that to me, it was like one of the notes I made was like, how come the Cowboys in this draft aren't targeting offensive line? They had their most success with Dak when they had all those guys in 2017, 2016 healthy on the offensive line. Like, why not go back and get studs? I mean, you can't go wrong with these 2 defensive players. Don't get me wrong.
Definitely not.
Next guy on my list here. Oh yeah, 49. This is why I thought this was interesting. This is stop here for Mike for a second. I don't know who this is, but Penn State linebacker Jason Owe, and Joe Kelvin Joseph, cornerback from Kentucky in this draft. I don't know if we'll get a reaction.
Owe ran a crazy, like he had a crazy pro day. Not that matters, but the dude is absolute shredded. I mean. So I like that pick. I don't mind the Joseph pick. Again, I think the Raiders should be focusing on weapons. I know I've been saying it to Joe. I think they have to get Carr another weapon. I really do. Give him no excuses as well. As just like those other quarterbacks we've mentioned, you got like Wentz, like Daniel Jones, Carr's in the same boat. You got to give him weapons. See what he can do.
Oh no, the ads are just going to start playing on their own. No.
Oh man. ESPN Plus. You got to pay for it and you still get ads.
And I still get ads? What is this?
That is damn.
Okay, we're going to have a beef here, ESPN. I don't know what your problem is, bro.
Microsoft needs any more money as you like, come on, man.
Never talk again. How's that sound? What are you doing, man?
Right. What is that?
Yeah.
We're trying to look at a mock draft.
Your show about rugby t-shirts and interrupt you? I don't think so. I was about to get to pick number 49. The Arizona Cardinals draft a wide receiver that's a slot guy. It's Amari Rodgers. And this to me signified the end of Christian Kirk experiment because he's on the last year of his deal. And if you're bringing in this guy, it's just right there. I don't know. And I like that also too for like Kyler Murray. Like, let's focus on getting him successful and getting him weapons.
I agree. I think, but I also feel like I know they got Orlando Hudson, but again, I believe that Arizona should be focusing on the line because they do got weapons. I think they got plenty of weapons right now. You got Hopkins. You grab. I think Kirk is serviceable enough at least for one more year. You obviously go get AJ Green, and I like what Edmonds can do in the running back position. I don't hate the pick. Rodgers obviously balled out in Clemson with Lawrence, but if I was Arizona, I would go offensive lineman, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, there's probably better ways it could be used. I just thought it was interesting because I thought Christian Kirk had some.
That is interesting. Here. Yeah, right. Me too. I think Kirk is serviceable enough. I don't think you're going to have to pay him crazy money. Like Samuel Cosme is a guy from Texas who I really like. So I like that pick with Miami. I feel like Arizona should have taken that guy. But of course, it's Mel Kiper and Todd McShay. But
yeah, exactly. And this is all, hypothetical stuff. This
right.
Cosme guy dunked. Which I was like, okay, all right.
I love that pick.
Big man, get up,
Yeah.
Davis Mills to Washington, where I was like, all right, this feels good. If you're going to pay Fitzpatrick there, maybe it's nice to have him as a mentor. Like, I think he's a good, let's bring in a guy who can be in the quarterback room every day with a veteran who's as smart and as fun and as kind as Ryan Fitzpatrick. And if the season doesn't go well, maybe you see him everybody knows I'm a Taylor Heinicke truther believer for life, but I think that I'm going to ride that train and the wheels are going to fall off real fast in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, Heinicke, I'm rooting for him. Fitzpatrick, obviously, I'm rooting for him. But yeah, I definitely think Washington's got to take a quarterback at some point, whether it's Kellen Mond or Davis Mills. I wouldn't mind either one of those. So I like that pick. This is a steal right here.
Yeah, this to me was like, okay, look at this. Like getting Rondell Moore. I think the Bears actually take like a receiver or something in the third. You're not going to I don't think you'll have enough time to get to the third round with me, but like they take like another weapon. I'm like, are these guys loading up for either the Allen Robinson departure or because they got the red rifle? Like they're getting all these weapons. What happened to Mitch, dude?
Right. Leave it up to Ryan Pace, man. I don't think Ryan Pace would even make this pick though, because he's just the worst GM ever. But if you got Rondell Moore at 52, I would love that. But yeah, I don't get it. Maybe they're preparing that they know deep down inside they're going to screw up the Allen Robinson negotiations because I think they will.
I agree with that. I like the Titans defensive selection. I like the Colts selecting this offensive, beefing up the offensive line. Same thing with the Steelers here. They've had some offensive line and running issues. Pass rusher. I mean, the Seahawks, they signed Aldon Smith, and then like 2 days later, he's turning himself in on battery charges or whatever. I was like, it's a rough life.
He's always in trouble, that guy. So I really like this pick here. That's another. I think he's the Miami probably possesses the two best edge rushers in the draft, to be honest with you. So I love that pick.
This one right here to me, I looked at this and I clapped. I was like,
love it.
Matthew Stafford, if he has he's like, oh, they're thinking about me. They traded for me and they're going to go out and they're going to use the second round pick to protect me. Like of all the things, like instead of drafting me my fifth tight end since I've been here, Eric Ebron and Brandon Pettigrew and TJ Hawkinson.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to actually get this man a center.
Right. And it's their first pick. Technically, Creed Humphrey is a guy I really like, even for the Jets. I actually think the Jets should reach for him because I think he's that good. So yeah, I will applaud too for the Rams. I really like that play. That pick.
I was applauding for the busted lungs of Matthew Stafford every year. It felt like that guy. They're like, Matthew Stafford's going to come back into the game, but his spleen exploded in the second quarter. So if you see blood coming from his lower extremities, don't pay. I'm just like, this dude's an animal. Whenever people
he really is
weak, I'd be like, are you kidding me? Carlos Basham, he feels like a Baltimore fit.
He does. There. He does.
Replacing Judon. I highlighted the Cleveland Browns getting Anthony Schwartz.
Interesting.
Speedy receiver. Does that mean Odell Beckham Jr. could actually be on the move? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
I think it's.
It's always in their back pocket, I think. So I don't mind a receiver there.
Yeah. I was good with it. Like if they're not going defensively, then let's make Baker stronger so that I can bolster up my conversations with Brian. See how he used his name against him?
Bolster. I like that. I saw that.
I'm sure people would people do that to him all the time. He's probably like, Tucker, that's not very funny there, brother. Let's go down to 66. We'll get you we got nothing like super interesting linebackers and offensive linemen, but we go to round 3 of the draft. We get your first offensive lineman off the board here. How do you feel about this guy?
I like Jackson Carman. I don't know. Was Wyatt Davis off the board? I don't know. I didn't see him, but I like Carman. I mean, any interior offensive lineman, I'm gonna like the pick, especially if he's coming from a school like Clemson. So the need is there, and he could play both. They technically need a right tackle and a guard. I think they lack guard more because I'm okay with George Fan along with Mekhi Becton. But yeah, man, I like they definitely filled all their needs. Corner, edge rusher, lineman. Those are the top three going into the draft. So I can't complain because I've seen Kiper do some crazy stuff in terms of the Jets prior to when they traded Sam Darnold. They had the Jets trading back and drafting Kyle Pitts. As good as Kyle Pitts is, that's just a terrible move. I mean, the Jets have a billion needs other than a tight end. So I like those three picks that they made for the Jets for sure.
And Joe, I know you got to get out of here, so I'm going to do these last couple really fast so we can get through. Nico Collins, I like to the Panthers. Again, support. Although Funches didn't work out good the last time they got a Michigan guy, but I like that for Darnold.
Weapons.
Go down here, scrolling down to 85. We have who's on the clock? Tennessee. I like this Tennessee pick, replacing Jonnu Smith.
Ooh, love that pick.
This feels like a good move for them.
He's dropped too. I saw him in the first round very early on. He was easily the next guy after Kyle Pitts, but there we go. There's the pick. Man, this was a terrific mock draft.
How do you love? I was so happy. I was like, I can't wait to show Joe how good they mocked for his team.
Man.
Because you kept saying I want offensive linemen. I was like, oh, just wait. You got studs coming you got all these picks. I was like, this would be a ton of talent. By year 3, you guys might actually, you might be able to start walking around with your chest out being like, what'd you say about the Jets, bro? We were just a field goal away in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah. I mean, man. Wow. I was shocked. They got Wilson, Jolare. I just screwed that name up. Newsome, Wyatt Davis. I mean, you got 2 offensive linemen, an edge rusher, a corner, a quarterback. Man.
Yeah,
love it. That is huge.
I'm going to get out of here, out of this draft stuff on this right here, which is at pick number 92, which I don't even know why I keep skipping. They throw Aaron Rodgers a bone and they get Cade Johnson. And I feel like they get him just because he's got a sweet first name like Cade,
Right.
It's like Mark Wahlberg's character in Transformers, Cade.
Yeah.
It's just anytime there's somebody named Cade, I'm like, this dude must be super cool.
That is a cool name. I'll give it a good pick through the name. And I don't mind the receiver, of course. They definitely need another. I guess they definitely don't need one, but people think that Rodgers needs more weapons, so I'm cool with that.
It's always a storyline, and they make it grumpy. Joe, thank you so much. I know you got big plans for the rest of your night. I really appreciate this and look forward to you joining me again on the show one of these nights.
Absolutely, Tony. I appreciate having me, dude. Anytime. You just let me know.
Awesome. Peace, brother.
Peace out.
That's awesome. Going through that draft. I love it. Lots of comments in here. Sorry, I was unable to get to all these comments. Let's go back here. Mike on the mic. Shout it out. This is a great combo. Thank you, Mike. I had fun. Joe, very knowledgeable guy. I knew he would be able to carry in that conversation and carry me more likely because I am less knowledgeable about all this. The Raiders need defense that will help Carr. I agree. I do definitely agree with that. But I think they could use some more weapons because Darren Waller, it would be nice if he wasn't triple covered every time they got inside the 25-yard line. Ooh, look at this. This is how skilled I am. Raiders need defense. That will help Carr. I don't even know how I messaged myself, but I was on the right page there. I was on the right page, my friend. Let's see here. We got Joe coming in. Carr has never had a defense better than the 20th. Okay. All right. You're right. He's never had a lot of things, but he still has to do more. Russell Wilson has had a lot of deficiencies. Other quarterbacks have had deficiencies. At some point, you just got to come over. This Warzone Sports Live episode will be brought to you by Microsoft and Rugby shirts. Yes, it will. 100%. Oh, man. I love that. Okay. I'm almost done. Going to wrap up the show with a couple of other thoughts around the world, right? got the Roethlisberger jersey up there. We had the Mike Tomlin contract extension. One of the best coaches in football. I don't like to hear any other talking. Like sometimes people will be like, oh, Mike Tomlin's overrated. He's just a rah-rah guy. You can't be just a rah-rah guy and never suffer a losing season. Like he won games with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges. Like he's with this contract extension to me, and this is why I think 3 years is a good time limit, because there's conversation that Ben Roethlisberger wants to stick around for 2 more years. I personally think he should retire right now, but it's not my life, and I'm going to cheer him on if he's still out there. They don't have the heir apparent. They have cap issues. In 2 years, like Tomlin's really going to get to like, he's either going to have a bunch of control to rebuild the team how he wants. Like he's had to deal with Antonio Brown and Ben Roethlisberger. Apparently doesn't sound like much of a cupcake to deal with either. So I am very happy for Mike Tomlin. I think he's great. He's one of those guys that if he was fired, he'd have a job the next day if he wanted it, or he would be amazing on television. So Mike Tomlin there is good. This dude's going to land on his feet. No problem. I think this is a perfectly timed contract for him to either demand a bunch of power so he can build the team he wants towards an extension. But as I said at the beginning of this on Mike Tomlin, he's never suffered a losing season. I believe that comes this year. I love the Steelers. Got the Wards, got the Palomalu, got the Ralph, got like 4 Steeler jerseys. I don't see how they get to 9-8 this year. I think they're probably closer to 8-9, if not worse. I alluded to this during the draft that the running back position, everybody keeps saying it's devalued or like it's dead or it's whatever. Like I think that the position really is just evolving, and that's why Travis Etienne or Javonte Williams, the more I see, they seem more like the guys that I would use a high draft pick on as running backs. Like the pass catching ability, the ability to be able to line up and catch the football. If you can't be multi-versatile, like that's why everybody was saying the Green Bay Packer thing. Oh, why did they give him all this money when they have AJ Dillon? Because I don't believe AJ Dillon can do all of the things that Aaron Jones can do. And if Aaron Jones is still relatively healthy and young, why not pay him? Keep him around. He knows the offense. Rodgers loves him. You have to be able to catch the ball. We are going to see, it used to be sort of one guy here or there. When I was growing up, it was Marshall Faulk. He used to split wide outside and be able to do all sorts of crazy things as a pass catching running back. And there was guys before me. Walter Payton was also a guy that was good at catching the ball. There's a couple of that are escaping me. And then LaDainian Tomlinson as we move closer to this generation. But now we have, like, in the past 5 years, like 12 guys in the NFL at once that can all do this thing. And it's sort of like supply and demand. It's however people are using the college athletes, then the NFL game has realized they have to start adapting to it, right? It's why we're seeing more versatile quarterbacks. The best athletes are playing those positions, and the quarterback position is more athletic than it has ever been. The quarterback position evolves so quick, like we don't really notice it. But the tight end position, we also used to say like it was just a dead position because there was gaps in there. And now all of a sudden we have these tight ends that are more like Shannon Sharp, like more along the lines of Tony Gonzalez, Rob Gronkowski. Like, yes, some of them can still block, but the versatility to be able to line up inside the 20 and be able to throw them a jump ball or seam routes to these just like big athletic pass catching tight ends. I can't wait to see what Belichick's going to do with Jonnu Smith. He's going to have him lined up in the backfield. He's going to have him throwing passes. Like Jonnu Smith is going to be all over the place for the Patriots. And the tight end position has evolved. We're seeing more of these guys come out. Evan Ingram, I mean, he's been injured, and I don't think the quarterback play has been that consistent, but he's really good. Hunter Henry's been injured, but he's another guy. Like, we're seeing these guys that maybe not be the best blockers, but they're studs. David Njoku, he's had some injury issues, but he's another one of those guys. Hooper. The tight end position for a while seemed dead, and now all of a sudden it's thriving again. So while the running back position seems to be dead, I think it's just changing. I think there still will be the occasional Derrick Henry, but I think they're going to look more like Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook in the future, right? Because if you look at Zeke Elliott's career is going to end prematurely because of the running style, but he could catch the ball out of the backfield. But if you're going to send your bruiser in there, it's almost like the fullback position is going to become a thing again, where we're going to be putting a guy in there that's like most of the time he's going to be running through the tackles. We're going to see more of that. We're going to see the running back position evolve into a space where like he could start in the backfield, they could move to the shotgun, and then he motions out into the slot. Like that's what the running back position will be able to do and need to do. The idea that like, oh, well, they need more blocking. Sure, he might have to chip somebody once in a while, but it's probably not. The position is evolving. Travis Etienne, to me, is the guy that I think is going to be the most successful, especially when I was like listening to this interview. He like went to the coach and was like, hey, I want to do more. Love that kind of stuff. I might have heard that on somebody else's video. Whatever I did, wherever I pick it up. I mean, you got to copyright your shit or I'll steal it. And then this, I'm going to end the show on this because I saw this and it made me chuckle when the Belichick story, like that he was like looking elsewhere a few years ago and that one of the teams was the Miami Dolphins. It's just like, if you think about the Miami Dolphins, how they are now and what Brian Flores has done, and I'm not saying Belichick could have done that, or like he was talking to Dan Schneider in Washington. Are you kidding me? Like he was not any of the teams there was a third team that it's escaping me, but there was a third team that he was rumored to go to. He was never leaving the Patriots for any of those teams. Like he might have just needed a little attention, a little affirmation that he is as great and as loved as he is. Having to oh, it's so terrible. I have to share the limelight with Tom Brady and win 6 Super Bowls over 20. Like, I don't know. The whole situation, like Brady being like passive aggressive, do you think Belichick appreciates you? I plead the fifth. What? Why? How come these two can't get along? Why can't he appreciate one? Can't appreciate the other? Why does it have to be I'm more responsible or whatever? Greatest dynasty of my lifetime, and they can't get along. Although the Bulls run, the 6 chips was pretty impressive too. But to do what they've done in football for that long, I got to give it to the Patriots. But yeah, I saw this. I was like, yeah, okay. Belichick went and talked to Dan Schneider about coaching the Washington football team. No chance is he leaving Bob Kraft in the pay. He knew Brady couldn't play forever. He wasn't sitting there being like, oh yeah, well, I just got to wait this guy out. He might actually play till he's 50. Hell no. Brady has a few more years left, or we're going to see more of these. You can't play this game forever. And I'm going to miss him. He's my villain. I love cheering against Brady. That's going to wrap up the show. I appreciate there were so many people that tuned in this episode, and I could see people popping out in and out and commenting. I'm grateful for that. Subscribe to the Warzone Sports Network and join all of this fun that we're having. We have a absolutely tremendous Don't Want to Miss show coming this Friday. And more details to come. So you need to subscribe and stay tuned and locked in with us and comment and engage and tell us which direction to go. Call me a buffoon or an idiot for the stuff that I'm saying or compliment me. Either way, I'm going to be fine with it. Yeah. But until then, and go watch Sports Force and all those fun things. I'm getting a little frantic because I'm just so excited. Everybody, enjoy yourself. And until Friday, peace.